LSU, the powerhouse of LSU of college baseball, it is the success. Like everybody knows that the reason that LSU is the pinnacle of college baseball is because of the success. It's also because when the times come out for opening weekend in Omaha, Saturday, prime time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, just announced LSU versus Arkansas, game one for you in the College World Series. We will preview that a little bit here tonight, as I anticipate that you will see Zach Root for Arkansas, Cade Anderson for LSU. This week we will preview and recap some of those things that happened in that series with you versus Arkansas. Remember that Friday night, by the way? Remember that, or game one, I shouldn't say Friday. Was it Friday? I don't remember. Yeah, it was Friday. Remember when game one got delayed and you walked it off in the 10th inning? Because I remember it. Remember the Ethan Fry coming out party when he hits a line drive home run in the right center field and a double down the left field line? Because I remember. We'll preview a little bit tonight. Not a deep dive, a preview of LSU Arkansas here tonight. LSU Super Regional recap. We'll break the things down of what happened this past weekend. Stephen Milam being absolutely hot. What one thing that every national title team does that LSU is starting to show down the stretch here. We'll get into that here tonight as well. Football making moves. One move already being announced. Is this it? Jordan Arsenal moves on to Athletes First. Will he be the only one that will be in the fold there? So we'll talk a little bit of football outside of what will be on the gridiron. We'll get on the gridiron. Might talk a little bit about recruiting there as well tonight. Is Brian Kelly shaking some things up? That will be the ultimate question. You know what I'm about to ask you. Where are you watching from tonight? Because I'm a good friend, Dane Bergeron. Dane, I hadn't seen you in a while. It hadn't been football season. Dane, I hadn't seen you. I hadn't seen you, Dane. Where have you been? But Dane Bergeron says the 337 is in the house. Good to have you in here, Dane. Christopher Westbrook says, let's go. Good to have you in here as well, Christopher. Chase Marshall says the 318, 3-1 great in this thing. Love the content, Blake. Well, I'm just glad that you're in here with us. I'm glad you're in here with us. Noah Mason says Plano, Texas. Yo, Noah, I heard Plano got some good barbecue. I heard it's got some good barbecue. Is that true? Mexican food, barbecue? Tell me if that's the truth, Noah. Also, Kale Booty on YouTube says New York City. How about that? The Big Apple's in the house. The Big Apple is in the house. Cal Booty, have you been to John's on Bleecker Street? Cal Booty, before you leave, and I'm sure you have, if you live there, Cal Booty, you gotta get over to John's on Bleecker. Best pizza. He says it's overrated. No, it ain't. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Damon Briggs, Pascagoula, Mississippi standout. The 228 is in the building. I like John's of Bleecker. You know what I didn't like, Cal Booty, when I went to New York last summer? What I did not like was I thought that the bagels were overrated. I thought that the bagels were massively overrated. You're going to hit me with a freaking bagel. The hell you mean? I'm from Louisiana. You're going a bagel. I'd rather have biscuit. Screw that bagel. Complete ass. He says overrated, though. I can vehemently disagree. Noah Mason says that's facts. Okay, so the barbecue and Mexican food, pretty the bomb out there in Plano, Texas. You got to love it. Brad Speck says he's in Vernal, Utah today. Good to have you in here with us. Cameron, Louisiana, says Cody L. Cameron, stand up and stand out. You got to love it. Little Rock. Ryan's in Little Rock. Man, I tell you what, you're going to be living it up this week, Ryan. Probably the 501 in the building. LSU versus Arkansas. You're in hostile territory, brother. You better go outside and wave that proud LSU flag around. Let people know. You better let the people know. That's for damn sure. Cal Booty says biscuits and gravy don't miss. It really don't. It really don't. By the way, I've only eaten here once. Where I live, we're getting a Bojangles. A freaking Bojangles. Can you believe it? That's insane. Rick Cloetti says, 2 best teams in the country, LSU versus Arkansas, face in game 1. Why? Well, that's just how they're seated. That's just how they're seated. Not seated, like sitting down. Seated. I will tell you this, and Rick brings up an interesting point. We'll get to this tonight when we talk about the preview, but Rick, you're on to something here. I really, that's a lot of reallys. Brother, if you win game 1, is Mercer still up? I really do believe that you win game 1, guys. You got to start feeling good about your chances here. Can you do it, man? Can you do it? You have not hit good on the road all year. It scares the shit out of me. I get the bubble guts thinking about it. But yeah, you win game 1 on that side of the bracket, man. You feel really good about your chances here. Corey says, Blake, where do you live? I can't tell you that. He says, we're also getting a Bojangles 5 minutes away from me. Corey, are you in the 985 or the 225? You're probably the same Bojangles. If you're on the 985 line, you know exactly where I'm talking about. I can't tell you where I live. You crazy people come to my house. Not you, Corey. I mean, I'm just saying. 870 Magnolia, Mississippi. Richard Reeves is in the building. Got some people out in Arkansas. You got some people out in Arkansas representing this thing. Good to have y'all on here. Stephen Frost says, I wish they would have reseeded the field once all 8 were accounted for. I do agree. By the way, Stefan's wife. Now, hold on. Stay with me. This is not going to be inappropriate. His wife tagged me on Facebook today. You know, Stefan and his wife FaceTimed me when they were in Omaha 2 years ago. And she says, well, Blake, this time, she tagged me and something with LSU saying, Blake, this time we're not going to FaceTime you. And I said, well, shit, why would we break tradition now? You did it last time. We won a national title. You better do it. Stefan, if y'all go, y'all better do it. By the way, you got enough money. Bring me with you. Yes, indeed. Colt Adams is in Hill County, Texas. Good to have you in here, man. Jackson Carter says, Morero's in this hoe. The 504 represent. I saw some of y'all, by the way, speaking of the 504, some of y'all talking shizite about my man Wayne, about the Carter 6. Don't act like I ain't listened to the Carter 6 yet. I ain't gonna lie, I like it. I like it a lot. I know that might make you judge me. But yeah, Rick Loetti says Marrero, the best bank. Yes, indeed. Harry Alfonso, the parish 504 is in the building. You got to love it. You got to absolutely love it. All right, let's get to it here. We got a lot to discuss. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you're listening via podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our great sponsors, but I do want to tell you this before we get going. Guys, you got to get over to our good friends over at Section 103. They're an apparel company. All the great apparel that we've been wearing the last couple of days, that badass white hat that we were wearing, we'll be running their ads starting tomorrow officially, like really pushing with it. But, guys, I wore their shirts this weekend. Phenomenal. Their hats, phenomenal. Go over to Section 103. Go to their LSU site. We're on our way to Omaha. You're going to need all the LSU gear you can get. Go over to Section 103 at checkout. Use the promo code AYS. You'll get 10% off of your order. That's section103.com today to get what I believe is the most badass LSU gear on the market. Let's do this. We're going to get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Super Regionals, preview Omaha, and football moves being made. Got lots to discuss. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotions. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. We're back. Okay. By the way, speaking of Miss Fry, she's already in the chat. She says, I'll pack you in my carry-on. Guys, we might be going to Omaha here. Stefan's laughing like he ain't got the money. He got the money to bring my ass. Now, I don't know if I'm going to fit in anything, but you got it. Good friends over at Fry Construction. See? If the wife tells him that she's got to bring me, then, guys, he doesn't have a choice, right? Like, I mean, does Stefan Fry risk getting his wife mad and not bringing me to Omaha in the non-weird way? In a non-weird way. It's as weird, weirdless as I can make it. As much as that sounds. All right, let's get to it. So, as we discussed early this morning, by the way, at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time, but LSU does win their Super Regional. They do take two games, the first two games, the only two games, versus West Virginia. Tonight, we're going to break that Super Regional down. You know, what's been interesting, a lot has been made of this offense of late and how they've been doing some things. And over the last 2 weeks, in the regional and super regional, you've scored a shitload of runs. Now, you did get beat by Little Rock in a situation where you only could score 4 runs. Don't know if that is going to be the norm for this team, considering what they've done the last 2 weeks. LSU this postseason has averaged 10.16 runs per game. Guys, nothing else matters from an offensive standpoint. I don't give two Rudy Poos how they do it. If that is what their offense is going to do, I don't care if they walk, hit a line drive, hit a bomb. I don't care what LSU does and able to score runs. I even went back 2 years ago, the year that you won the national championship. I was like, well, what did LSU during a situation where they won a national championship in the regional and super regional, how many runs did they score that year? Because you've scored more runs in this postseason in those two situations than you did in 2023 when you averaged 9.6 runs per game in the regional and super regional. Now, well, Blake, in the regional, we faced off against a Tulane team that didn't have a winning record. You mean like Little Rock? Now, the difference is that they didn't lose to Tulane again, nor did they play Tulane again. They played Oregon State in that final game. My point is this. Guys, the last 2 weeks, even in one of those bad games and situations with a loss, you're averaging 10 runs this postseason. 10.16 runs to be exact. That has come on, and we talked about this person a lot last night, has mainly come on the back of Stephen Milam. You know, like we come on here and we talk about, look, in the SEC tournament, you struggled a lot like what you did in the SEC tournament in 2023. But you get back this postseason, you host a regional, you host a super regional, and you're averaging 10 runs. You do that, you go into Omaha, guys, which I don't think you're going to do, but God forbid you do, all bets are off of what you probably can and will do in that winning the national title, which I don't think you're going to get 10 runs on the road, not in Omaha. But it's really come on the back of some of the guys that have started to get hot here, like Stephen Milam. This weekend, Stephen Milam in the Super Regional went 1 for 3 on Saturday with 4 RBIs, that being the home run, along with 2 walks and a couple of pair of what should have been hits, but hardly hit balls that Stephen Milam does not get on the hit column. The grand slam that blew the game wide open on Saturday for you to win game 1. What LSU's been able to do at the plate, whether it be regional, and what I would determine has been the last month of Stephen Milam's at-bats, taking the ball the other way, seeing the ball deep and hitting and barreling the ball up, letting off-speed pitches get deep, not swinging at off-speed pitches at his back foot that are coming inside from the slide pieces, which he really struggled at from a left-handed perspective this season. But a very level swing, hitting the ball really hard and doing what he needs to do, which didn't land in a Sunday where he went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 walks, which he also had 2 walks on Saturday as well. Stephen Milam's really seeing it. And by the way, in the 2 for 4 last night, you remember what happened in some of those. He had a line drive to the shortstop that quite honestly came off the bat at 100 plus. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I mean, guys, that's just baseball. But he's seeing the ball really well against a top 25 staff in West Virginia. Now, a lot of you were like, and you said in the comments in the post game when we went back and we looked at it, well, Blake, we did that against West Virginia. There are going to be better teams. You're right. Arkansas is a better team than West Virginia. No one is going to say that it's not. But one thing is for damn sure, West Virginia was not a slouch, especially on the mound. Now, Kodsanis maybe was a little bit ill. That's baseball. It is what it is. Things happen. But, guys, you went up against a top 25 pitching staff, and you put up 16 runs and 12 runs, 28 runs in 2 games against a staff who, quite honestly, has been very freaking impressive all season, who went into Clemson and shut them down, who went into a Kentucky game, and when it mattered most, they were able to find enough pitching and get outs, even though Kentucky put a lot of runs on them. But as we recap this super regional, I kind of wanted to make this opening part of this and talking about what you've done just in the postseason in general. The things that have really stood out to me here are X. And guys, it's that you're scoring runs. And that regardless of how you're doing it, and you're not doing it in the way, nor have you all year, are you doing it in the way where you're just hitting the ball out of the ballpark like you've got guys like Dylan Cruz, Gavin Dugas, Tommy White, Braden Jobert. You're not doing the gorilla ball. And even Jay talked about that last night. Was like, listen, guys, we are not doing it this year in the traditional way of what LSU and how they've gotten to Omaha in the past. We've been very great on the mound, and in being very great on the mound, we've been very good defensively, and the offense has gotten back to where they needed to be, a lot like what they did and the Sunday versus Tennessee or the Saturday versus Arkansas, are really when the moment mattered most, the Friday night against Arkansas, which we'll talk about in a minute. They got back to who they were then. Now, this team is a completely different team at home. They always have been this season, and they always will be. Guys, of 35 games this year, 35 games at home this year, they went 30-5. Now, being on the road is where they struggled. And we'll talk about that a lot this week, where it is one of my biggest worries. But looking at the Super Regional, whether it's Stephen Milam or whoever at the plate you want to point out, there are three big things that stand out to me from this past weekend. Number one is I felt like that you took massive major league at-bats. I felt like the patience that you showed confirmed a lot of things in the sense of that you're just seeing the ball well. And guys, they weren't throwing strikes. And the worst thing that you want from an offense is pressing too hard, like what Bear Jones did in the regional, of saying, hey, deep breath, take the ball the other way, and let everything else go. Let everything else go. Guys, how many times did you just hit a hard line drive or a hard ground ball to where they weren't in a shift? How many times did Jared Jones hit a ball off on a rope when he gets an 0-2 curveball and he takes the ball the opposite way? The approach is what matters here, because here's one thing that does travel with you. Approach travels. Approach at the plate will travel. Atmosphere may change. Everything else around you may change. Approach should never change. It should never change. And guys, it didn't this week. The big league approaches comes on a part of where I think Jay Johnson makes his money the best. Look, you struggled. You had some parts in the season that you struggled, and then you turn right around this postseason, guys, you're averaging more than a team that won a national title 2 years ago with superstars and legends. Legends. By the way, with a big bat like Hayden Travinski that came up for you big late. Remember Oregon State? Remember Travinski, and I think it was Beloso that went back-to-back in that game 6 scenario against Oregon State? I love the approach. The second thing that I love here in recapping this weekend was I felt like that you came through in most big game situations. Like, were there some times like the Ethan Fry strikeout last night with 2 runners on? Yeah. Okay, fine. But I felt like that every single time when you had runners on, you were going to get the job done. And guys, quite frankly, you did. You see, the question had been all season from an offensive side of things was, were you going to get the big hits when they mattered to blow a game wide open? Guys, quite frankly, and I understand the Little Rock loss, but when the moment mattered the most, whether it be Luis Hernandez's 2 massive home runs in Game 7, whether it be Bear Jones hitting a home run in his last at-bat versus Little Rock, whether it be the grand slam from Stephen Milam, Josh Pearson, whether it be the outright bang from Jake Brown, whether it be the Chris Stanfield hit right to the 4-hole with them being in the shift that plates 2 runs. Is it a 2 outs where you draw a walk that starts a rally from Chris Stanfield where you get a walk, Curiel walks, Fry walks, and then in walks up Stephen Milam with a base hit down the line in the right field that's going to plate you 3 runs. It felt like every single time that you needed to really focus and lock in, and when a big moment was there, you showed up. But the biggest thing for me in this Super Regional is very simple and very easy. Guys, for the first time this season, your starting pitchers did not have the stuff. Meaning, Kate Anderson, who had been so amazing this season, Anthony Ianson, who had been so amazing this season, because they didn't have great outings. A really good offensive lineup in West Virginia got to them. And for the first time this year, the pressure wasn't all on them to win at a high level. Because offensively, when your two starting pitchers were down and have carried you the entire season, which Anthony Ianson and Kate Anderson have carried you the entire season, when they were off of their game, quote unquote, in air quotes, the offense is the one that said, hey, we got you. Just go throw some strikes. We got you. We're not losing this. They did something that national title teams and national title champions do. That when one part of your game is slipping, the other one picks them up. And that had been the complaint, right? For an example, you get swept by Auburn. Well, Blake, the pitching wasn't bad. You did some good things on the mound. You could not hit. Or Texas A&M, Blake, the pitching was elite. Literally elite by Anthony Ianson and Kate Anderson. Could not come up with the big hits when you needed them. But this time when it mattered most, because this was the time that it mattered most. And I don't think that West Virginia is a worse team than A&M. I think A&M's got more talent, but West Virginia is a better team to me. When you look at those situations and say, well, when it was all on the line, you said, listen, we got you. We got you. Because national title teams, whether it be in any singular sport, whether it be baseball, whether it be football, whether it be basketball, regardless of the activity in sport, I feel like all national title teams have one massive thing in common. That massive thing in common is when you hit your biggest amount of adversity, how do you respond? Like when you get in a Game 7 scenario against a team that's red hot in Little Rock and believing in everything that they can do. What do? Well, you scored 10 runs. When you go into a Game 1 and Kate Anderson's a little bit off, don't worry about that, bro. We're going to hit 2 slams. It doesn't matter. We're going to hit 2 slams. We got you, dog. Our approach is going to be the best. You know, I think of, as an example, I think of the LSU football season in 2019 when LSU versus Auburn and gets a really good defense, and that defense making some massive stands. I think of that defense against Clemson making some massive stands early when Joe Burrow and company could really get moving, which they did. To be an elite team, you got to be complete. And you got to be complete when it matters the most. And if there's one thing about the Super Regional and really just the postseason that I've felt, it has clearly been that offensively, and it might not be the way that you like it to be. You might want your team to hit the ball all over the park because that's the LSU way. Who gives a shit? Who gives a flying shit? Because when it mattered most, you performed. It comes on the back of Josh Pearson, who says, thank you to the greatest fans in college baseball at his last at bat. For the final time, Josh Pearson, the glue of your team. It comes on the back of Ethan Fry. It comes on the back of Bear Jones, which, speaking of Bear Jones, went 500 in the Super Regional. If I would have told you a week ago today that after the home run, that Bear Jones would go into the Super Regional versus West Virginia, and I didn't tell you the games, and I didn't tell you the situation, and I told you he would hit 500, and he wouldn't get hurt, and everything, like he's going to play the entire time, that Bear Jones would be 500 on the weekend. He wouldn't have a home run, but he'd have an RBI, but he'd go 4 for 8. And in that 4 for 8, he would have a pair of walks and a hit by pitch. You would say, I mean, shit. What are those 4 hits? Did that home run against Little Rock sparked Jared Jones to get where he was. Now, something that was interesting about Jared Jones and something that Jay Johnson talked about in his postgame last night that I thought was the most intriguing about this super regional is Jay Johnson was asked about the approach and mentality of his team offensively. And he acknowledged the struggles of Stephen Milam this season. He acknowledged the struggles of Bear Jones. And what we told you in the postgame last Sunday night, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday last when you lost to Little Rock, was that during the show we had heard that Bear Jones, Stephen Milam, and Danny Dickinson had stayed after the game to put more work in after what they felt was a bad day at the office for them. And Jay Johnson acknowledged it in the postgame and saying, I understood what was happening in the game, but I also understood all the amount of work this postseason and the lock-in focus that you're getting from the backbone of your team. Guys, elite teams, not even more than just elite teams, national championship caliber teams look exactly like this. It does not mean that they're going to win it. They could go 0-2 in Omaha, and everything we're talking about is a byproduct of, listen, you just couldn't go on the road, couldn't do X, Y, and Z. It doesn't mean that the work and the things that you're putting forth effort to does not lead to national championships, because it does. And there's a lot of factors that go into it outside of just putting in extra work. But guys, that's what I want my team to be. It sounds like their head coach. It sounds like their head coach. So when I look at just more than the super regional, when I look at the regional, when I look at the super regional and say to myself, listen, man, we can make all the complaints that we want. We can say whatever we want. You're averaging 10 runs this postseason so far. For the first time all season, your starting pitchers, well, they got touched up a little bit. And I think that that's not going to happen moving forward. I do not believe that that will continue to happen. I think you go in Omaha and you have great performances from those young men. If you can continue to keep things up offensively, the sky is the limit for you for what you can achieve. Guys, you're here now. Might as well go win it, but you're here. I have a lot of faith in this team. You are in for a battle, and you're in for a dogfight. You're in for a dogfight on what might be the most talented team out there outside of you, and that being Arkansas. Now, we're going to preview Arkansas here in just a minute and preview what happened that Friday night of what would be the most comparable game to the pitching staff and everything that you'll probably see. But, man, I tell you, you're coming on at the right time, and I'm glad of seeing it. All right. We do have some super chats that are off in here. Cody McGee with a $2 super chat says, did Carson Bailey commit to LSU? I don't know if that's public yet. Is it public? Can anybody put that out there? I don't know if that's public yet or not. I'm going to say I don't know. We'll see. Ricky Guerin with a $5 super chat says, do you start Anderson and then bring Ianson in game 1 versus Arkansas to guarantee winner's bracket? No. Ricky, I do not. No, I do not. I mean, would it be the craziest thing ever? No, but you're going all in game 1, and who would you face? UCLA or Mercer or Duke or whoever it is? No, I wouldn't do that. Now, can Cade Anderson just lead it for you? I mean, listen, to win this whole thing, man, you're going to need legendary performances like Ty Floyd's, like Riley Cooper's. Like, you're going to have unbelievable performances, unreal performances. I mean, you always do. You're going to have plays defensively like Trey Morgan's, Josh Pearson's. You're going to have to have those to win this thing. Can't pucker up now. The only thing you need to pucker up is to kiss that baby goodbye. That's the only thing that needs to be puckered up. So, no, I'm not doing that. And nor do I think that Jay Johnson's going to do that either. I would bet you $1,005 super chats right now that he's not going to do that. I really do. I really, really, really do. All right, we got another super chat. Oh, no, that was all of them. So two super chats. Paul's Hub Martin says, I'm under the belief that we win against Arkansas. We will see UCLA need that revenge game from 2013. I agree. I hope it's us and Coastal. Paul's Hub. I hope we go up against Coastal here. That's what I hope. I want that rematch. CJ Booty says, so here's the thing. The team honestly hasn't peaked yet offensively, in my opinion. I don't think they have either. If they peak in Omaha, they're winning it all, no doubt. I agree. And CJ, here's the thing. That's the scary part for this team. I think you saw some borderline elite shit, though, this weekend. Listen, the walks and then the big hits scream being elite to me because you're not expanding the zone. You're making them come and throw things to you, and it shows me that you're not pressing. I felt like if there's another thing that I didn't mention that I feel like is I really do feel as if that there was like the guys offensively, I felt like that where we felt a lot of pressure as fans, I felt like that they felt zero pressure by the way that their actions were. There was no Michael Jackson glasses on the side in the dugout. Like, hey guys, that's cool and all, right? Whatever, but we're in postseason now. We're in postseason. Anthony says, Blake, how much do you think the Heat factored into all pitching performances? I'm sure a lot. Did you see Jay Johnson, the first person he ran up to after all the chaos stopped was their strength and conditioning coach, saying that he was the real MVP? That should tell you what Jay thought. Alexander Taylor says, Jay Johnson going to Omaha 2 out of 3 years. Kim Mulkey having 3 straight Elite Eights. Put more pressure on BK. Look at Adam Burrows here. I know this is you. Yeah. Look, Brian Kelly's got to get to a playoff. I don't think Brian Kelly can survive without making it to a playoff. And I say, let me retract that. I don't think this fan base will want him to survive if he doesn't make the playoff this year. I mean, y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. Spectrum Wellcare says it might be Arkansas's year, Blake. It very well may. It very, very, very well may. So we'll see. Speaking of Arkansas, let's do this. Let me get to a quick break. We'll come back and talk about Arkansas. I'll preview it a little bit next. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Hey, Southwest Louisiana. Are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see them over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat, go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check him out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick. By the way, I just saw this, and I wanted to point it out here. To all of those, yes, recruiting is ramping up here. I think that some of you need to be on the forum tomorrow. AYSSnetwork.com/forum. Brandon Reese says if BK misses a 12-team playoff again this year, it'll be interesting to see what Scott Woodward chooses to do, but I doubt they'll be willing to pay $60 million to move on from him. Especially when you have to pay $20.5 million in TV revenue money to athletes. That's a whole nother thing. What I was going to say, too, Grant Taylor is being promoted to the White Sox. You know what the biggest what if could have been in LSU history that no one wants to talk about? What if Grant Taylor, who's now a major leaguer, if you would have had a staff of Paul Skeens, Grant Taylor, and Ty Floyd? Guys, could you have imagined, by the way? So not only did you have Tommy White, Dylan Cruz in that gang, but, brother, you had three dudes that will more than likely be starting pitchers or high-level relievers, Paul Skeens already being one of them, who are in Major League Baseball. Grant Taylor didn't pitch in 2023 because of an injury. Can you imagine? Could you have imagined? That's got to be the biggest what if in LSU baseball history. If it's not, I would love to know another one. Someone's really got to tell me another one if that's not the biggest what if. All right. So let's preview Omaha here. LSU will face Arkansas game 1 in the College World Series for them, the last game in round 1 of the College World Series at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time this upcoming Saturday. LSU did take 2 of 3 from Arkansas this season in Baton Rouge, a really highly contested matchup between the Hogs and LSU that went the Tigers' way. Listen, what you're probably and more than likely going to see in game one is Cade Anderson versus Zach Root. Zach Root being the starting pitcher, the big lefty from ECU a year ago, who is now the ace in Fayetteville. We've already seen this one play out. Now, if you remember, this game was at home, so factors and atmosphere may be different, and I do expect that Arkansas fans are really going to travel, and I hope that LSU fans that mostly do will travel as well for this one. But let's look at that game one scenario that's already played out. And before you say, well, Blake, this is a completely different situation, you're right. But you know what's interesting about Arkansas is they faced off against Tennessee at the end of the regular season this year, and they beat them down. And they faced off against Tennessee in a super regional, and the same damn near event occurred in the two-game series and sample size between Arkansas and Tennessee. And I do wonder if you have a situation like that again here. You know, Arkansas in game one, when they went to Root, which really and truthfully, we should start off here, a game that quite honestly could put you in the catbird seat of winning the whole damn thing. Now, a question was asked earlier, do I think Cade Anderson and then Anthony Ianson go 1 and 2 back-to-back? I don't see that happening, but I'm not going to count Jay Johnson out in doing something like that if he really thinks that that's his game plan. And I'm not saying that's a game plan, but you're putting so much in on that game one scenario, which, guys, quite honestly, could be what we would all determine, is this really your national title? I don't want to say game, but is this your national title within a national title? Are the two best teams squaring off here? Very well could be the case. But in the game one scenario, earlier this season, Zach Root pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 0 walks. It was the Ethan Fry come-out party, which Ethan Fry had been really at that point of the season, had been coming into the lineup against left-handed pitchers, but was really where Ethan Fry solidified himself to being in the starting lineup every single day at DH when he had to double down the left field line and had the big line drive home run in the right center field with a ball that was absolutely blistered on Zach Root. Josh Pearson had a couple of big moments in that game as well. You remember the throw out at second after a sliding play and then a critical bunt to advance Luis Hernandez as well there. Cade Anderson also started that game, went 5 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs with a pair of home runs with 1 walk, but he did strike out 10. Guys, you're in for an outright dogfight. You're in for the dogfight of dogfights. And we will talk about this in a deeper light and in a deeper area later on this week. We got 4 more days to talk about it. But when I look at this matchup, when I look at this scenario that you have for yourself, LSU versus Arkansas, guys, you've taken one from them already in this exact same scenario. Now, the game started later at night. There was a situation where it got delayed, and this time it's in a neutral ground. This time it's in a neutral situation. Guys, I really do think that you seeing Root again could really benefit you. Now, you have not hit left-handed pitching good all year. Ethan Fry did and saw things really well. If you take the same approach against Zach Root that you took into the Super Regional, I think you're going to have a lot of success. Root is really good. I don't think that he deserved to be the first team All-SEC over Anthony Ianson, but he was. But I will tell you this, because there's no better pitching matchup in what you will probably see in the College World Series than Cade Anderson and Zach Root. There's no closer competition that you're likely going to see than this game one. And this game one does put you in the catbird seat for what could be a run to the national title. Cade Anderson struck out 10 guys against Arkansas in that game one. I don't anticipate you being into a delay here, but Cade has already had a lot of success. Can he replicate that success? And if he replicates that success, then you feel really good about where you are. If he goes 6 innings and he gets 10 strikeouts, I don't know if he's going to give up bombs like he did in game 1. Maybe he does. But this lineup is very dangerous. And for what it's really worth, he kind of manhandled them for what it was worth. Now, Chase Shores came into the game for Cade Anderson along with Zach Cowan. And if you remember, Zach Cowan went 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and deliver for you in the clutch. Can Zach Cowan do that for you again? Can he do that for you again? Where I think that this game in game 1 is going to be predicated off of, and what it was really predicated off of the first time in that game 1 scenario, like it was the last time, was LSU got the better performance out of their bullpen than what Arkansas did. Gackle came in right after Root, which is going to be their best bullpen arm, and Chase Shores and Zach Cowan came in and closed it. What does Jay Johnson do this upcoming Friday will be the biggest question out of the pen. But you already won that battle once, which gives you the confidence that you can do it again. But Arkansas has also seen it. And a great team, if Arkansas is really a great team, they're going to know how to adjust and make something of it and change things and change their approach. Because if Chase Shores is in the strike zone, he's hard to guys, he might be the best pitcher in the country. 101 mile an hour sinker. If he's locating pitches, he might be the best. He might easily be the best. But the big thing is Zach Cowan. Zach Cowan has struggled down the stretch, and we haven't seen Zach in quite for a little bit here. In reference to, look, he 2 innings, he got in a bad situation against Little Rock, and he got pulled. You get into a situation now, is Case and Evans, who we did not see this weekend. Do you go to Case and Evans? I think the ultimate factor in game 1, more than anything, is when you get a lead, if you can get a lead early, can the guys on the mound sustain? You have the chance to do it. You really have the chance to do it. But it's a heavyweight fight, guys. It's as 50-50 as it comes. You know who else thinks it's 50-50? Is Vegas. As Arkansas is a plus 250 favorite to win the national title, and LSU is a plus 260 favorite to win the national title. Guys, it is about Vegas believes. So even if you took Blake Ruffino's opinion out of it and biases out of it, you have Vegas, who has no bias and does not care other than the almighty green. They do not care. And guys, they're basically telling you it's a pick 'em. Maybe there's a slight edge to Arkansas. Maybe a slight edge. They're calling it a pick 'em. But they certainly believe that the winner of this game, or the team that can control this game, may be your national champion. That's what they believe. And I also believe that with them. Now, baseball's a goofy sport, and anything can happen. But, man, this is why we love sports. An outright dogfight. An outright dogfight. Now, Paul's brings up something interesting here in the chat. I'm actually just going to bring it up, Brandon. If Paul's says might have to commit to with full southpaw if Cade is dealing, follow up with Cooper Williams. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. You have the talent and ability. You have the dudes in the bullpen that when they're right, you can win this whole thing and they can shut anybody down. What worries me and what should worry you is that Arkansas is just a really good team. I mean, they could easily be a national title winner. Easily. And you're in for a dogfight. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Wouldn't want it any other way. It's just going to be very interesting. But if you're talking about that game 1 with Aloy who hit a bomb, a Kojal who hit a bomb, I mean, you get to a place where can Kane Anderson keep the ball in the ballpark? And if he does, guys, he had a lot of success against him the first time. Let's hope that he can do it again. So we'll see there. Before we get out of here, Trey says Murray State led off, just hit his second home run to tie the game, 413 feet. Yeah, we're going to be watching it right after this. DA says, I always thought BK was a fraud from the beginning. He came here for the money. Jay Johnson came here to be the LSU. That was his dream job, just my opinion. Maybe. We're going to find out. Stephen Fry says Arkansas hasn't been this good in quite a while, probably since 2012 when they lost it. When did 2012? Well, the last time they had been to Omaha was 2012. But yeah, they have athletes that can just really swing it. Right? I mean, like that's the byproduct here. Right? Like, I mean, they just have some dudes that can swing it. And they're really good. They're very, 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 very good. And I think you could take it from them. But they are, as Stephen points out, they're just so freaking good, man. They're so freaking good. All right. Last thing before we get out of here. So there was an announcement that came today as Jordan Arcemont, who is a part of the off-field staff for LSU, is making a move to Athletes First. He's leaving LSU to go to a new business that's called Athletes First. They do NIL deals, things like that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't think that Jordan Arcemont is going to be the only and has been the only shake-up that building has seen from an off-field standpoint, meaning recruiting guys, whatever you want to call them, but non-on-field coaching staff. Jordan Arcemont was the one that was announced. I do think that there will be and already has been, which I'm going to let those people who have moved on make their announcements when they want to. But there's been 2 shakeups in the off-field role department. Jordan Arcemont is the one that's been public, and there has been another. I don't think it's the last. I do think that LSU is going to have maybe a couple of people and things being shuffled here. And guys, I think that there's something going on here at LSU right now. I talked about this in the beginning of the football offseason, and I want to bring it up again. And you were warned about this. With the House settlement case, I always wondered what was going to happen with some of these positions that were kind of like quote unquote bullshit or that you could get away from. And if there are some guys that are leaving and there's shakeup because LSU's got to pay $20.5 million to student athletes, are there positions around LSU that they don't need that are going to get cut? And I think that you're going to be having that here. That's what I think is going on with LSU. It's not the only shakeup. Well, let me say this. There's 2 more shakeups that I think that people are not necessarily maybe ready for, but we will talk about in due time. I think one of the shakeups that we're going to see is a massive one. And if LSU gets the right person in there and they stop BSing around, they legitimately can make an absolutely insanely great hire, the one that they should have made before. There are things going on behind the scenes that I know that people will, Blake, just bring it up. I'm not doing that. I'm going to let these guys come out publicly and make the way that they want to announce it. I'm going to let them announce it. It's not my position or role to do that in. But I do think with some of the shakeup, a part of going 8-4 last season in the regular season, I think some of the recruiting misses, because guys, quite honestly, if everything's coming down to contracts, I mean, some of these positions and some of these guys don't have really any legs to stand on, if we're being honest. There will be some more shakeups. Jordan Arcemont leaving Athletes First is not the only situation that is going to be shaken up here publicly. I don't know when those announcements are going to be made. But remember, we're talking about this. And when the time comes, we're going to have a very serious conversation that LSU can make a very serious hire that they should have made in the beginning that maybe they should now. All I'm going to say, and they need to spend the money to do it. They need to spend the money to do it. All right. We're out of here. We're out of here. Yeah, 2018. Okay, yeah, 2018 was the year that they that Arkansas lost it. Y'all are right in the chat. You're 1,000% right. Y'all always are. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.